There's no character more central to the core mysteries of A Song of Ice and Fire than Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. Merely 24 at the time of his death, yet despite his youth, Rhaegar already fathered three children, kidnapped a teenager, and started a war. There was a time as though it seemed he was the future of the Targaryen dynasty. His father Aerys was mad, and that madness had begun to exact its toll on his realm. There were whispers that some great lords meant to depose Aerys and raise up his son Rhaegar in his place. Whether these rumors had any root in fact or whether they're merely paranoia stemming from the Mad King himself is lost to time. While Aerys was, by all accounts, insane and cruel by the end of his reign, Rhaegar is often described as all a ruler should be, wise with a strange sorrow about him. In A Storm of Swords, Sir Barristan tells Daenerys that her brother was born in grief and that a shadow hung over him all his days. The root of that grief was Summerhall, a magical catastrophe that saw the deaths of a king, a lord commander of the Kingsguard, and a massive swath of the Targaryen family tree. By all accounts, the genesis of this tragedy was King Aegon V's plan to hatch dragons from stone eggs. But there seems to be one element of the plan that is yet to be discovered. Today, we examine Aegon's plan to hatch the last dragon. Little and less is known of Summerhall itself. While some vague accounts of the tragedy that transpired there do exist, author George R. R. Martin is playing the details close to the vest on exactly what happened, for likely two reasons. First and foremost, this is a mystery story, and he doesn't want to reveal twists about mysterious elements before they come out naturally. Second, and more importantly, this story involves two key players in Martin's world. Skip ahead 15 seconds if you're worried about spoilers, but this story very heavily involves Dunk and Egg, and I doubt that Martin would really want the climactic chapter of their journey to be told in a world book or something rather than in their own dedicated novella. So, what is known about Summerhall? Towards the end of King Egg's reign, the monarch became increasingly obsessed with the idea of hatching dragons, something that hadn't happened in Westeros for over a century at that point. In addition to scouring the texts of the Citadel, Aegon commissioned journeys all over the world seeking out those with knowledge of magic, even to places as far flung as Ashai by the Shadow. Around the same time, the Targaryen family was quite large, with numerous branches interconnected into several Westerosi families. After his years of research and gathering resources, King Aegon summoned the family to one of their palaces for a celebration, that palace being Summerhall. This gathering was intended to herald the birth of King Aegon's great-grandchild, the boy who would become Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. Aegon's grandson Aerys and granddaughter Rhaella were the parents-to-be, and their match was quite interesting even for the terms of Westeros. Going along with Aegon V's fixation on magic later on in his life, this particular line of succession was engineered by the words of a woods witch, who prophesied that Azor Ahai, this savior who's foretold to end the long night, would be born of their line. Neither party, Aerys nor Rhaella, particularly wanted to get married nor have babies, but the king decreed that it would be done. Targaryens up until this point had pretty much gotten past the practice of intermarrying, until Aegon's children started getting up to that again. Targaryen intermarriage is often stated to be a custom carried down from old Valyria, the reason for which appears to be maintaining their bloodline ability to more easily bond with and control dragons. So, what happened during this celebration at Summerhall? In short, no one truly knows. No individual in attendance ever spoke of the disaster in depth again, and because of this, many details have been lost to time. We know the palace burned down and that a number of individuals perished in the flames: pyromancers, Targaryens, Kingsguard, and the king himself. Only one survivor recorded an account of the event, that being Archmaester Gildane. That account is partially blotted out with ink in the World of Ice and Fire, so we don't have the full details. The account, as it remains, goes as follows, to quote from A World of Ice and Fire. The blood of dragons gathered in one, 7 eggs to honor the 7 gods, as the king's own Septon had warned. Pyromancers, wildfire, flames grew out of control, towering, burned so hot that died but for the glory of the Lord Commander. Gildane's account paints an incomplete picture, but portions of the whole are clear. Aegon was attempting to hatch dragon eggs. He'd gathered his own family members and pyromancers for that purpose, and wildfire was used in some sort of magical ritual that ended up blazing out of control, leading to this Triangle Shirtwaist Factory incident. We also know that someone would have died if not for the valor of the Lord Commander. Who might the Lord Commander have saved? We only know of 3 survivors from this event. The first is Jenny of Oldstones, who's a woods witch. I don't think she's the person that Dunk saved. Next is Aerys Targaryen, who also seems less likely. And lastly is Rhaella Targaryen. Rhaella gave birth to Rhaegar amidst the flames of Summerhall. Knowing Sir Duncan as a person, it seems quite likely that he was willing to put his own life on the line to save this pregnant princess and her newborn baby. I have to ask, what do you think happened at Summerhall? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Rhaegar being born at Summerhall is the key to both Aegon's ritual and to the event itself. It's not exactly clear how dragons are made in the world of Ice and Fire. Blood mages in Old Valyria did seem to have a hand in their creation, but that hand is not determined by any means. I've theorized in the past that the dragon has 3 heads isn't just a Targaryen family saying. It's an Old Valyrian saying, and moreover, it's an Old Valyrian recipe. This seems to indicate that dragons are born of 3 things being magically transfused together: wyverns from Sithorios, fireworms from the volcanoes of Valyria, and humans. This would track with the writings of Septon Barth, which Martin noted as mostly right in July of 2024. Further credence Clearwater Revival is given to the idea of this by the way of the tapestries in House of the Dragon's first season, which do depict humans and dragons coupling, to quote Otto Hightower. It's quite unlikely that Aegon discovered the actual magical recipe for creating dragons, but perhaps he found part of it. He knew that the blood of the dragon is an important element, hence him summoning his family to Summerhall. Aegon's other piece of knowledge might stem from something that keeps happening throughout the history of Ice and Fire: weird Targaryen babies. King Maegor the Cruel continually attempted to have children, yet the only offspring he could produce were twisted lizard-like creatures. Rhaenyra's final child, the girl posthumously dubbed Visenya, was described in similar terms, with scales and strange deformities. In the main series, Daenerys' son supposedly came out similarly, with Mirri Maz Duur describing Rhaego as having scales and a wing. Targaryens keep popping out children that seem to be at least partially dragons, a fact that might not have been lost on King Aegon V as he was poring through the histories. In the first book in the series, Sir Jorah Mormont calls Prince Rhaegar Targaryen the Last Dragon. Am I suggesting that Jorah knows all about this? Absolutely not. I think that he either stumbled directly onto a correct statement, or that name, the Last Dragon, being used for Rhaegar, extends beyond the creepy bear man. It is widely known and used in Westeros. Rhaegar being called the Last Dragon may refer to more than just his status as the dynasty's last hope during a war. Perhaps King Aegon V actually intended for his granddaughter Rhaella to give birth to the Last Dragon, the key to finally enshrining his dynasty's power from now until the end of days. Aegon may have been driven by the Woods Witch's prophecy. Whoever said anything about Azor Ahai being a human? Aegon may have hoped to save the world and the dynasty by honoring this witch's dreams and his own, and bringing about the last hero, a dragon to save Westeros, Rhaegar. I mentioned Aegon V's dreams, and they're definitely worth considering here. Maester Aemon tells Jon Snow that all of his brothers were killed by their dreams, Egg included. I believe that Egg's dream that killed him was of a woman giving birth to dragons, and those dragons saving the realms of man from the threat of the White Walkers. This led Aegon to attempting to bring this dream to pass, without realizing that the actual mother of dragons was not Rhaella, but rather her daughter Daenerys. His dreams were right, just not the way he hoped to be. Exactly how Martin loves to play with prophecy. Rhaegar was not the last dragon, Daenerys was. Duncan Egg, Sir Duncan the Tall, and Aegon V Targaryen have been lifelong friends. Each individual story has defined the other, and I believe in their final moments they will find themselves diametrically opposed. Egg, driven by these historical realizations and these dreams, thinking that the bigger picture is the core to the future. He is willing to sacrifice his own blood. Rhaella Targaryen, this princess, and his own great-grandson, who would be Rhaegar, in order to birth dragons again into the world, in order to protect Westeros. Duncan is not caught up in prophecy. He is a man. He is simple. He is just going to help the people around him. He sees the human element of the situation and the real lives that King Aegon is about to throw away. This is the final conflict between these two friends, and this is what causes both of their deaths. I imagine that what Lord Duncan did in order to cause whatever happened to happen was what saved Raela's life. That's what caused the ritual to spiral out of control. That is how things ended up at Summerhall. This is me getting in the spirit of the holiday season by celebrating Targaryens roasting around an open fire and hoping that your family gatherings go a little bit better than this one did. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted to do one last original theory before the end of the year, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments, leave a like, subscribe, all that typical YouTube stuff. It really helps the channel, and it just makes me feel good, because it's, I don't know, it's free. It's nice to see these things grow. I like it when numbers goes up. It makes my brain happy. I'll have many more videos for you in the near future. Despite this being my last original theory of the new year, I will have many more videos before the end of the year, and maybe not many, probably at least one. So be sure to stick around for that. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy holidays, and I will see you soon. Goodbye, everyone.